The good old days of Teen Wolf Season 1. Cringe dialogue, a basic story, and a season carried by the best sidekick in young adult television. The mysterious big bad of the first season was kept in the dark on who his secret identity was for over 9 episodes until the reveal in episode 9, Wolf's Bane. For those of you who were super smart like me, you could have easily deduced that Peter was the alpha episodes prior to the actual reveal. And speaking of Peter, today we talk about the big bad of the first season of Teen Wolf and unquestionably the most powerful werewolf in the entire series, at least at the beginning of the show's 6-season run during the first season. How strong is Alpha Peter? Find out right after this. Although there are much stronger werewolves than Season 1 Peter, including the likes of Scott McCall, most of the Alpha Pack, and Deucalion, as well as Sebastian Vallet, and even his older sister Talia, at the time of the first season's release in 2011, which was 11 years ago, which is kind of crazy, not gonna lie, Peter was without question the most dominant force of nature in the series at the time, and it wasn't even close. While he was only an alpha for 1 season, he has some extremely impressive feats, some of which haven't been seen since Season 1 and are quite interesting, and a few feats that are surpassed by superior werewolves such as Deucalion, who we will discuss and make comparisons with later in this video. The feats we will use to gauge where Peter stands are his speed feats, in particular the feat where he was able to keep up with Kate's car in the episode Magic Bullet, and the fact that in his wolf form he runs so fast he seems like a blur, and his strength feats, as well as some abilities such as in his final battle with Scott and Derek in their 2v1 in Codebreaker, as well as the feat where Derek is held up by Peter with one hand in the episode Pack Mentality. Not Pack Mentality, my fault. The episode is called Heart Monitor. Almost forgot that for a sec. We will also use the scene where Peter forces Scott to transform with his Alpha Roar, and Deucalion forces Scott to do so for comparison's sake. In the scene where Peter in his full wolf form is chasing Kate down, Kate was driving at a guesstimated 55 miles per hour, since the average speed limit on a 2-lane highway in California is 55 miles per hour, with her most likely driving slightly over the speed limit at 60 miles per hour. When Peter began chasing her, she had to have sped up slightly, possibly putting her speed around 65 miles per hour or so at best in order to keep ahead of Peter. Also, she couldn't have gone any faster than that because she was also focused on shooting him and taking him down so she could get him off the car, which he eventually did after getting shot at multiple times. I would say this is Peter's most impressive speed feat, aside from all the moments he runs like a blur, to which we can't really gauge the speed of which, since we don't know how fast he was moving, though the human eye can only see about 1/30th of a second when it comes to shutter speed and about 15 FPS frame rate. To tell if something is truly a blur is nearly impossible because it all depends on your field of view. For example, I can move my finger back and forth super quick right in front of me and it would look like a blur in my eyes. Or if you were to look at a car from 200 meters away on a freeway while you were, let's say, in the backseat of a car someone's driving, the speed that car is moving, although it may not be as fast as you perceive it to be, may look like a blur when you take into account the fact that you are also moving in the opposite direction that car that is 200 meters away. Distance matters in this case, and it depends on your personal tolerance for what constitutes as a blur. And the fact that Peter was so close and looked like a blur running past and knocking people down is extremely impressive regardless. Now, the scene we're going to compare that with is the scene with Ethan and Aiden chasing Isaac and Brayden in the Season 3 premiere Tattoo. Generally, most motorcycles can move at speeds greater than your average car, which is what Kate was driving. Most motorcycles are classed in CC categories. If you're familiar with the racing game Mario Kart, which I'm assuming most of you guys are since it's a very popular game series, you may be familiar with what the CC class is. Motorcycles fall under 6 different classes: 100cc, 125cc, 250cc, 500cc, 600cc, and 1000cc. The fastest known motorcycle that I've seen personally is the Yamaha R1, which in this clip here speeds up to 300 miles per hour, which is absolutely wild when you think about it. But let's bring things back down to earth. Brayden was most definitely not driving anywhere close to that, and now she's a mercenary for hire, which means she would provide herself with new equipment for every job she takes up. So it's reasonable to assume that she provided herself with a brand new ride to rescue Isaac. And judging by the scene we're talking about, I would say Brayden was driving anywhere between, to guesstimate, 80 miles per hour to 100 miles per hour at least. The fact that the twins were able to keep up with her and Isaac on the motorcycle, even taking into account that the weight of both of them is preventing the cycle from reaching its full potential top speed, is a feat, in my opinion, that surpasses anything Peter did in season 1, though it's much more inconsistent on the twins' part because this is the only time we see them run that fast. So in terms of speed, I would say the twins at their max are faster than Peter in his wolf form, but Peter is more consistent when it comes to his speed and can run like a blur on a more constant basis. Let's talk about strength. Peter's strength feats, let's not BS, are really not that impressive when you really think about it. He was so powerful, Scott and Derek combined weren't even really a challenge for him, although they put up a pretty good fight and were able to consistently land hits on him just due to the fact that they are younger and therefore more faster in terms of their speed and agility. When Peter isn't in his wolf form, at least, Peter really just has the power and size advantage, and not to mention he was a literal tank as he was barely moved when getting kicked in the stomach multiple times while getting pushed back. His most impressive feat of strength is definitely the fact that he was able to hold up Derek while making him bleed with one hand. Now, for season 1 standards, this is an amazing feat of strength that shows off Peter's power. Only thing is, it was outclassed by a stronger werewolf and a better showing of strength, Deucalion. In the episode Lunar Eclipse, while fighting Scott, Derek, and Jennifer Blake, Deucalion in his full-powered form still retained a mostly human appearance and build, while his skin just became dark gray and his muscles became more pronounced, and he just had a more intimidating build. He was able to hold up both Jennifer and Derek with 2 hands by the neck and raised both of them off the ground at the same time. This feat is definitely one of the most impressive feats from a werewolf in the series, especially when you consider the fact that Deucalion was hampered by the effects of the lunar eclipse still being present before it hit its peak, and he was nowhere close to his full power, although he went all out because of the effects of the lunar eclipse not making him nearly as strong. So yeah, that debate just ended for good and got shut down on who's stronger. It's clearly Deucalion, and I've been a proponent and have been saying this literally for years now on the channel. But hey, to each their own, I guess. Continue to ignore blatant facts and be ignorant if you want, I guess. The final feat I want to cover before this video ends is the fact that Peter roared at Scott and he was still resisting for a few moments before transforming and falling under the influence of Peter, of course. Meanwhile, when Deucalion roared at him, Scott transformed almost instantaneously and couldn't resist at all whatsoever. So yeah, just another feat to back up the argument for Peter not being the strongest alpha and being nowhere near Deucalion, like, at all. And this took place right after Deucalion wiped the floor with the Rock and Derek in the same episode the lunar eclipse took place. So Deucalion was still hampered by the effects of the lunar eclipse before it reached its peak. Overall, Peter was strong for the time he was an alpha, but was severely outclassed by stronger alphas over the course of the series, including his own beta Scott. Without the speed of his wolf form, Peter's not really that much of an issue, seeing as most of the alpha pack could take him down, and even Deucalion by himself could take him down with some difficulty. Scott and Derek, and as they currently stand at the end of the series, could also beat Peter pretty easily, you know, even with some difficulty like Deucalion. But sadly, Alpha Peter was just a victim of his time and was outclassed later on. He's still a badass though, nonetheless, with some cool scenes and moments. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys leave a like. Make sure you guys comment down below all your thoughts. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. At the time of recording this video, we are about 94 subscribers away from reaching 5,000 subscribers. So if you guys could help us reach that goal, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you for all the support in 2022. 2022 has been really the biggest year in a long time. It has been the biggest year since probably 2017 or 2020. So thank you for all the love and support you guys have been showing to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. It keeps me motivated to make videos like this for you guys and to bring you guys content every single week. And without further ado, I'm Jade Corner. Make sure you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace, love, and positivity as always. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. Deuces.